we can just talk casually until we actually, first couple minutes. How's your days been going?
Yeah. What's the game tonight?
We're playing Black Mesa, which was the
Ah.
game that I played. It was the game that we played when I was last with Dave last week.
I gotcha. Yeah, so we can get started talking about some of the stuff that was going on this past week. There's been quite a bit happening. Yesterday, we had the whole Epstein files and things of that nature that was kind of soaking up a lot of the news. Trump went to this McDonald's conference thing, and he was visibly sick. Had a very tough time trying to get through that speech, making a lot of weird noises as he does when he gets past about 8 o'clock.
And they say Biden is
and then
too old, huh?
Right, yeah. And we saw that there was a lot of pressure on Republicans to vote to release those Epstein files. They ended up voting to release those tonight. They actually, or this afternoon, they did. And the Senate voted unanimous consent to get it to push through the Senate. So it will arrive on President Trump's desk. The question is whether or not Donald Trump is going to sign it or veto it. Indications suggest he's going to sign them. But that's kind of where we're at for today.
Majority, so,
There's no point to him vetoing it. It passed by overwhelming numbers. I expect he may drag his feet out. He has 2 days to sign it. So I expect he may buy a little bit of time for whatever he's going to do next. But he'll end up signing it because there's no point to anything else.
Right. Well, and some issues that have arisen with the particular discharge petition is a little clause in there about being able to redact certain information as it relates to ongoing investigations by the DOJ. So some are suggesting this is...
That's one thing. The other thing is that anything that's classified information can be restricted. And of course, who's in charge of classifying information? The executive branch. So
exactly.
You definitely have really just overt conflict of interest here, which I think really underscores a lot of the issues with the Trump administration.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the issue, right? Is the Trump administration is going to very likely redact a significant portion, in my opinion, of those files. We'll be lucky if we see the full thing. That's a concern of mine, but I think that's a reality that's always been present. But they're kind of carving out that way to do it. I don't know how this discharge petition was written up. I hope that this wasn't an oversight by them, because it should have been pretty apparent that putting something in there like that would very obviously be used by Trump and Pam Bondi. So
the issue is, if they didn't, it would be a political excuse to kill the discharge petition. It was difficult enough for them to get to 218 signatures, right? So no matter what happens, even though Trump can kill this, it's out there. The message is out there. And, if he does try and do any of these runarounds, holding it up because they suddenly start another investigation or needlessly classifying information, it just makes it obvious that he's more guilty. Will only increase the support and public demand for another bill to follow up and, just publish everything. So it's right now, I feel it's just a matter of time. All he can do is play for time.
100%. And I think that's something that...
You think he's going to have enough time to, die? I think is his goal. Die a peaceful death? Or not maybe... I don't know. I think there's real concerns about the president's health. I think if he might be thinking about clocking out in the next 6 months, and if so...
No, I don't think he's suicidal.
No. I'm saying
he's trying to get...
What I was saying, I was saying that, if you remember, there was a lot of talk about heaven at one point. He was like, I want to solve Ukraine so I can go to heaven. And he made a few heaven remarks, and so some people said, people only start talking about, what's my meal ticket to heaven when they're planning on using it soon, if you know what I'm saying.
That was That was, I think, a clear and obvious ploy to just prey on religious conservatives. Um, that's all there is there, in my opinion.
Okay.
And it's kind of gross what they've done with that too, to be honest with you, the way that they have perverted the Christian religion to really try to politicize it's pretty gross. Nothing that they are espousing really aligns with actual traditional Christian like values. I know a lot of people will sit there and like, for example, obviously there's the easy one like love thy neighbor and things of that nature. But if you look at how Jesus really kind of went about his life, it was very humble. It was one that took in everybody, the sick, the poor, the prostitute, right? That he took in everybody, the gambler. He took in everybody of every walk of life. And the Republicans are doing everything of the opposite.
Well, nothing about Trump from beginning to end has ever been about devout faith, not in the slightest. I think, a guy who cheated on 3 different marriages and, like to raw dog porn stars is not exactly your poster child for any kind of faith. Maybe a sex cult. I think even then you're going for someone with a little bit more character. Right? Yeah, no, it's always been just about kind of manipulating people, and Trump, MAGA, they've really been appealing to people with grievances. Let's be honest, the reason a lot of people are with MAGA is because they felt, whether justly or unjustly, they felt preyed upon by, the far left. And it really kind of built up, grievances. And with Trump, he's just been promising, like from his first term, I'll lock her up. Because a lot of people were still upset with the Clintons. Nobody cares anymore. But he always just preyed on people's grievances. And he never delivered either, right?
Right.
The most amazing thing to me is the whole COVID thing. The way he preys on people with grievances about COVID. But who is the president behind Operation Warp Speed? Who was the president who signed federal funding for all the state lockdowns? It was all Trump. Trump was the lockdown president. But he's turned their grievances against his administration into his own cause, and he's boomeranged it against Democrats. And Democrats have not learned the lesson from that. To be honest.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think Democrats have really fallen short of expectations, to say the least. And I don't know if I talked about it on here or not, but I've kind of pondered this idea of what's like, was this a 3D chess move, right? To release these emails. But like, I can't get over the fact I'm like, that's not what Democrats do. The Democratic Party is always letting down their constituents. And this is way too good for them to actually do planned, right? So, it's difficult.
I've met a fair number of congressmen, and some of them only play dumb. A lot of them only play dumb. Most of them, it takes some level of intelligence to game the system to get elected.
True.
And either that's the congressmen themselves or
There's
people
Steve
behind
Bannon.
them. Yeah. And it's usually pretty obvious if you do much looking which one is which. But yeah, it very well could be calculated.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, like, because there's a lot of suggestion that they had received these prior to the government reopening, right? And
Yes.
likewise, I think there is with Republicans, when these emails dropped, it was known that Trump was up pretty late strategizing in the West Wing. I think it was West Wing, or East Wing, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Strategizing in the Oval Office, trying to figure out how they're going to navigate this. And I think their way of navigating it came out pretty quickly is that they're going to try to shift the blame to saying Bill Clinton, all these other people with the Epstein files. And we're starting to kind of see that pathway become a little bit more clear as to what their strategy may be. I think it's going to be heavily redacted on the basis of an ongoing DOJ investigation, and it may even trickle out. I feel like that's growing increasingly more probable.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to go for both routes, to be honest. He'll use the ongoing investigation excuse first. Meanwhile, they're going to have people pouring through the records and classifying them. Because, saying, oh, I'm investigating Democrats now, it's not going to work for the public. They're going to want, people are going to demand very quickly, okay, which Democrats? Tell us. Where's the prosecutions? When do we see the indictments? Why did you wait? Why did you tell us there's no files? Everybody's going to see through it now.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
He's going to fight it, but let me go back to Babylon 5, one of my favorite sci-fi series. Great quote in there: when the avalanche has started, it's too late for the pebbles to vote. And the avalanche here has started. There is so much momentum behind the Epstein files that it doesn't really matter. We're still a democracy. The public, Democrat and Republican, everybody's behind getting these out there. So it's going to come out.
Yeah, and I think I was going to say something I completely forgot.
I got a question for you guys. Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, do you feel like, in a way, I wonder if like this whole Epstein thing is overshadowing Trump's administration in a way that like liberals, that we as liberals like, wouldn't want. And what to say is like, when I think of like how I kind of want this term to end, I want this term to end with like Trump being sort of like, embarrassed. I want it to end with him, like, with Americans going up and saying, you know what sucks? Tariffs are bad. They just didn't help us. They didn't bring manufacturing back. They didn't fix our problems. You know what else sucks? Like, calling half the country vermin, or saying that the enemy within, or all this other rhetoric. All this sucks. And now we just are so, like, chalked up with the Epstein files. Let me put it to you this way. Like, imagine if, like, we found out that Osama bin Laden was a prolific person who never recycled. Like, and so you'd be like, what do you think about Osama bin Laden? Yeah, dude, that no recycling thing, it's just insane. Well, okay, sure. Yes, but like, there's a bigger issue with Osama bin Laden than like the fact that he didn't recycle, right? And so I'm kind of worried that when we look back on Trump, we're gonna be like, yeah, dude, this Epstein stuff, it's bananas.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. This is what I was going to say earlier. I think it's important that we set expectations correctly. And I think a lot of people, if you're on the left and you think that this is going to result in some kind of an indictment by Trump, you're sadly mistaken. Think about who has to indict Trump when it comes to these files. It's going to be the DOJ. The same DOJ, by the way, that is already having lots of issue with the grand jury testimony. And it looks pretty gross. And that's a whole nother conversation. But the DOJ is not going to indict Trump. And even if you say
indict him anyways, you can't.
Correct, he's a sitting president.
You can't prosecute a sitting president. The only way it ends is impeachment.
And then the problem with that is that right now your best chance in the midterms is to get the House flipped. I don't see the Senate flipping. I could be mistaken, but I don't see the House flipping or the Senate flipping. And
I don't
if the
think
Senate
you
doesn't
need to
flip
flip the Senate.
do you think they should? Well, I think that's a better question. Do you think they should still proceed with a impeachment vote, even if it only results in an impeachment in the House?
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't
know how I feel about that.
I don't know if I'm convinced that matters in the long scheme of things, but maybe.
Well, here's one thing. So unlike a trial, right, where you can only be tried once, there's no such limit on impeachments, right? It is not a conventional trial like in the courts. So if, the Senate, for whatever reason, says not guilty, and next session of the House can do the same thing. They can send it back to the Senate. But honestly, senators are different than representatives. They take a longer view of things. They got 6-year terms. Yeah. I mean, most of the guys voting on this, their re-election isn't even next year. Like, everybody in the House is up for re-election next year.
Just like
but only a third of
everybody
the Senate
who voted to end the shutdown. Every Democrat that voted to end the shutdown is like, gonna be like a million years old, basically.
And this Epstein stain is on its third presidential term, right?
Yeah.
So no senator with any aspirations wants that hanging over them. Either they're looking for the exits already, in which case there's nothing
Marjorie
over them.
Taylor Greene. She's not a senator, but she is looking for the exit.
She's not a senator. She's a representative, but the senators, some are looking for retirement, but most have long-term aspirations, and they're not going to let it go. They're going to answer to the people.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's kind of the other thing too.
And hi, the Alex Shaw. Thanks for and a cup of Joe Biden. We have all three of the regulars in today. Hey, all of you guys.
There you go.
For joining.
Yeah, thank y'all for joining. So I think that's the thing when it comes to impeachment. I think that what we have to look at too is I think even outside of the Epstein stuff, even if I were to say they should maybe not impeach on the Epstein stuff, I do think, if I'm being very honest, there are a whole host of things that could probably amount to, at the very least, an investigation between the Qatari jet incident, between some of his crypto scam stuff or scheme stuff. All of these different things, I think, reek of ripe impeachments. So I do think that politically speaking, it would be really good for Democrats, especially if it does end up in a result in a split Congress. I definitely think that the Democrats should use that opportunity to show their constituents that they care, show that they do want to hold Trump accountable, and really run on that in 28. I know that when Biden won in 20, I think a lot of that momentum was built on the fact of Trump's terrible first administration. And if that same kind of momentum holds true in 28, and especially when Republicans are going to be without really much of any real leader, like they're kind of trying to find that right now. I think Democrats have to seize on that opportunity big time. Green. Which is terrifying, but yeah.
Terrifying, dude. You think Trump's terrible. By the way, real quick, Phils, I took your advice and I streamed a horror game like you recommended. Sorry, that was just a private. Anyway, that's the next big thing. So Marjorie Taylor Greene's officially like she has read the tea leaves, as they say, and she has like recognized that the future is not MAGA. I mentioned this on the last stream, but I do want both of your opinions on it. So she's going down this new path with a new acronym. It is.
I don't think that's quite the angle she's going for. I think she sees Trump falling as the king of MAGA. The Epstein thing will finally bring him down. I think she wants to position herself as the queen.
She is, and she's doing it. You are absolutely correct. She's doing it by. She even has like a new slogan. So it's America Only, America First, or AFAO.
Yep.
And that's a really funny. By the way, I hate the acronym because it's not like pronounceable. It's not like MAGA, which is like MAGA. It's an But the other thing about it is, if you're America Only, you're definitionally America First. Like it just doesn't make any sense. There's nothing.
Well, and you notice there are already people who are jumping on that rebranding bandwagon. So Fuentes is already crying America First. Tucker Carlson is already crying America First. There's nothing about Tucker that's America First or even America.
Russia first over here with this man.
Oh, that Carlson family is bought out by Hungary's Viktor Orban. If you look up Tucker Carlson's dad, Dick Carlson, he's literally a registered DC lobbyist for Viktor Orban.
Yes.
So,
my God.
Well, yeah. He's passed for the record, but yes, he was up to his death a registered agent for Viktor Orban.
Yeah.
Which is and so there's questions. Some people, again, there's no proof of any of this, but that is true that like if you easiest way to funnel money is between a father and a son. That bond, my father will go to jail for me. Like he'll take whatever falls. So it's a very secure way to pass money, illegally or unethically. But what
scares me
we're not in the defamation territory because we have no proof. Okay, so just.
Well, what scares me is the constant shift to the right, and I think that's what scares me a little bit. Is that now that this Nick Fuentes situation has come more into the mainstream zeitgeist, if you will, it really concerns me that he's even getting as large of a platform as he is.
Yes.
That is very, very concerning and very scary because I want to see normalization. I want to have the Obama tan suit. Like, I'm fine with the tan suit controversy. Let's get back to that.
Brave.
But we're not heading in that direction. We're going straight to the right and the authoritarian right. And that's very, very concerning for me.
Very much so. So Chainsaw Commando, if election 2020 is between Andy Bashar and J.D. Vance, you're stuck with a highly popular Democratic governor and a man who believes that his own ideas aren't just wrong, but immoral. True. Vance's real issue is that he had to explain why he advocates for ideas he says are wrong. His other big issue is his wife. That's even more depressing, but true.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who Charlie
Baker is? He's got a hard one to explain that.
Are you guys familiar with an individual by the name of Charlie Baker? A cup of Joe Biden said he likes Charlie Baker, and I'm not familiar with him or his policies.
I'm not.
He used to go down this way? Okay.
Let me look him up.
Yeah, it's okay, I'll look him up.
Former governor of Massachusetts. Well, let's just say this. The fact that I had to look them up, I mean, I'm not saying that nobody can't rise in the populace, but I think it's very clear that right now the three Democratic leaders, or 3 Democrats who are really leading the front, are going to be Governor Newsom, Kamala Harris, and Pete Buttigieg. Those are the 3 names that keep getting spun around and around and around. Yeah. And I say Kamala Harris, and
I was just going to say, a lot of people are throwing AOC's name into the mix, or Zoran Mondani. You feel like they're just too far left or something?
The reason why I say those 3 is based on polling. Polling suggests, and believe it or not, and I know that there's a lot of there is recency bias, I'm sure, with Kamala Harris, but it's actually very surprising just how much she is leading in these polls.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, that's my hot take that I tell people when they're like, you're silly. I'm like, the polls disagree with you. Yeah. Like, she's actually leading amongst African-American men substantially, like 40%, by the way. She's also leading pretty massively in just general polls. I believe it varies sometimes. I think it varies between Pete Buttigieg and Newsom in second, but right now I believe it's Newsom. So
yeah. So in my opinion, we're way too far out. But I would say definitely look to anyone who's a governor or a senator is, a likely candidate.
Yep.
But we're here in 2025 talking about who's going to be running in 2028. And go back to any previous election and try to predict 3 years in advance who's going to be the front runner. I'm not going to do that because I know for a fact that all of our predictions are going to look hilarious come 2028 because of things we have no clue about right now. Every governor, every senator still has 2 more years to make name recognition for themselves. And some of them won't even be in office. Every day that passes drops Kamala Harris into a has-been. No matter how strongly she polls right now, time is not with her unless she's got her hat in the ring as something. This is why it's usually a governor or a senator, because people hear their names. They're out there. They're doing stuff. If Newsom can keep it up for the next 3 years, then he has a serious shot at it. But 3 years is a long time to hold on to the spotlight. That's just not natural.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't bet on him either.
I want to interject. So we got a few comments I want to read. Chainsaw Commando, I'm sorry, a cup of Joe Biden asks, is this because, there's a few things I want to get to. So one is a cup of Joe Biden saying, is it because people regret voting for Harris? Maybe. I know that in California, she was a front runner for the governor until she announced that she didn't want to run. So I think people, it's name recognition. Like, so much of it is just name recognition and vibes that I think, like, Harris has it, just because there isn't really an official leader. And the second thing, you guys can comment on in a second. Chainsaw Commando, he wrote, I mean, Fuentes is doing nothing that the GOP wasn't doing with Milo and Richard Spencer in the last decade. This is a really interesting thing because I was doing something that no one should do, which is I was watching Dave Smith, comic Dave Smith, or comic Dave Smith.
Correct. Nobody should do that. I agree.
And he was talking, but he did say something I thought was interesting, where he said that like the reason he was interviewing Nick Fuentes is because he said Nick Fuentes is actually like real MAGA. That like when people talk about undocumented immigrants, they actually mean like they just don't have the courage to say Mexicans or brown people. You get this a lot, by the way. I see this in Europe with people like, oh, I don't want Muslim immigration because of crime, and it's just very like wherever you come down on the issue, like it's just very obvious that, like no one actually cares about Muslim crime. Like the 90% of people who don't want more Muslims in their country don't want more Muslims in Europe because London is only 40% white and 20% British white. Like it just feels like there's a lot of people who are just really mask on this issue, and the reality is yes.
Here's the crazy thing though, right?
Yeah.
Is they're so upset when Mamdani was running. They're saying this is it, Sharia law. I've actually had relatives come up to me and say, is Sharia law going to happen in New York City? But the moment Donald Trump invites MBS to the White House, has a little giddy moment, they don't bat an eye. I'm like, I would be more concerned about like if I were MAGA, I'm not saying I am, but I'm saying if I were MAGA that held this principled stance, I would be far more concerned about the president bringing MBS to the White House along with that other gentleman in Syria, the president of Syria or whatever, I can't remember his name. I'd be more worried about those two individuals coming to the White House than some mayor in New York City, but they're not principled, so they don't care.
The one thing I'll say about that, I do think there's a bit of a difference between hosting foreign dignitaries. Like, I can see why that, but it is funny that, like, I agree on a relative spectrum, those are more concerning than the big concern thing. If you want to think about, like, what's going to bring Sharia law into this country, I think it's, like, it's the jet. It's like the fact that our president accepted basically a bribe, and not just basically accepted a bribe, and like everybody's just like fine with it. I saw one of the things I like really frustrated with Ben Shapiro on is that he knows certain things are wrong, but he's been like very reluctant to like truly speak out against it, and it's just been so frustrating and embarrassing to watch. Where I saw him I saw him talk about the jet. And he said that the reason he didn't like the jet was because it like endangered the agenda. He's like, people will say it looks bad, and so we shouldn't accept the jet. And I was like, you shouldn't accept the jet because it is bad. It is bad. Let's ban Arabic numerals. Hell yes, brother. But yeah. Anyway, so Sharia law. That's a bit of a
look, Islam is such a minority in America. There's no threat of it. And the moment that, if some Islamists did take over a city like New York, that would be the end of it as a movement. There would be such a huge backlash. Can you even imagine if it really happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not happening. We're not Europe. Where maybe that has a little bit more valid basis there. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not going there. But yeah, Muslims are not taking over America.
Right. And
they're here. And by the way, if you get to know most American Muslims, most of them that are coming here for a very good reason, because they like freedom of religion too, actually. They embrace the Bill of Rights. They want that freedom, and that's great. In fact, me as the son of people who've been here for hundreds of years, I love immigrants because they bring such a love of what America's about, the freedoms we're about, that people who are born here too often take for granted.
Yeah. I agree.
Apologies,
get
guys. I
off
was
my
trying to chew.
soapbox in defense of immigrants now.
Well, no. So
Someone's
here's the
gotta do it.
thing, is that I think this is a bigger issue too, and just understanding our political landscape. People don't realize how complex even our local government really is. There is still a city council, right? Like
Yeah.
the mayor is not some guy that is like unilaterally over the entire area of New York. Furthermore, if you look at the state legislature, the state governor, like to the lengths at which you would even be able to implement Sharia law, like that, it would not even be fathomable, because you would have to have every single person there on board. It's ridiculous.
Well,
So
hold on. Here's what Mamdani really is in one simple word: distraction.
Oh.
Trump can't take on all of the U.S. congressmen or all the senators. There's nobody there for him to attack because he is so freaking awful. So he needs to go down to a mayor and blow him way out of proportion in order to maybe get somebody that, in the eyes of the most bigoted Americans, looks nearly as bad as him, particularly with all the Epstein files going on.
Yeah.
Like, our president is a child rapist. He needs the most desperate distraction he can get.
Seriously. A comment from a bit ago from Chainsaw Commander. One of my he told about how he just thinks the Sharia law arguments are like, they just are so dumb when you can make so many good arguments about his economic policies. My favorite anti-Mamdani talking point is when people are like, wow, we have to ban all these immigrants. Like, dude, white people are Mamdani's base. You ban white people from voting, and Mamdani doesn't have a prayer, actually. Like, if you want to ban people from voting to stop Mamdani, it's young people and white people. I'm just saying. So that's my favorite anti-Mamdani argument. Yeah, Trump is catering to all of his bases for sure.
I like people attacking him for anti-Semitic, but New York City's Jews voted for him in droves.
Right.
He got a third of the vote, and he lost 2/3 of the vote. I don't know if I'd make that argument. He got a significant minority, but
yeah,
I wouldn't say.
That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't say droves.
Nonetheless.
I just wouldn't say droves.
But Christians, Catholics, and Jewish people were the ones who ended up really voting for Mamdani. The Arab population is very, very relatively small that voted for the percentage of
They're just not a big part of
Arabs.
the electorate.
Right,
Now,
there's not a big part of the electorate.
to be fair, I know of hardly anybody that voted for Mamdani. Most people were voting against Cuomo.
That's I do. So are you having said that? Are you of the opinion that just like a serviceable Dem could have like taken Mamdani to the cleaners?
I mean, it's New York City, so I wouldn't bet on that. But it would have been a really good and interesting race. With Trump's support that Cuomo got, probably yes, they probably could have won, but I don't think that a moderate Dem had a chance of that. Trump wanted Mamdani. He wants to have him as a punching bag. That's why he elevated everything, not so that Cuomo could win, but so that he would have somebody to attack and distract.
Yeah.
And it's not about who, and to be clear for all the listeners, not about who Mamdani is as a person or a politician. It's about the caricature that he's building of him, right? That's because in the minds of MAGA in rural USA, Mamdani is a Islamist communist. Despite the fact that if you really understand those two concepts, they are mutually exclusive. You cannot
True.
be an Islamist Marxist.
Yeah, that's true. No, you can't have the internal red-green alliance, just the external. Chainsaw Commando, Mamdani's main problem is that he's focusing on increasing spending to solve problems largely caused by suburbs. He's a reaction to NIMBYism, but the city of NYC can't solve those problems regardless of policy. I'd like to hope that they can solve the YIMBY problem. It's, the Dems, the liberals desperately need to bolster themselves with very real amounts of housing if we're gonna, because Texas is building it and they're eating our lunch on that front. they're building more
Yeah,
solar than us. Like it's really
New
frustrating to
York
watch.
City is not the place I would put your hope in.
Mm,
Plenty of other cities, uh, Houston, Austin, maybe Denver, a bunch of other places that are looking like they're starting to turn to the abundance route. Not New York City. They
why
haven't had
not?
enough
I don't know much
investment
about
yet.
that city.
Um, it's just they lean so socialist there. It's just a mindset. And again, it's the white people mindset. It's not the immigrants bringing it with them.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not necessarily even native New Yorkers. People are going there because they want uh, New York government to provide for them instead of doing it themselves. Um, and it just doesn't work because government is us, people. That's the little secret.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, someone from Houston, we are a massive, massive city, and I think people underestimate just how large Houston is. Okay,
Yeah.
we have 3 loops that go around our city. For anyone who's never been to Houston, we have 610, Beltway 8, and 99. 99 spans like 4 or 5 counties. Okay, it's massive, and even like within 99, inside of that outer loop, okay, there is like very, very densely populated neighborhoods. There's almost unheard of to see an acre of land. It's just not heard of. Most properties that you're going to get are going to be a quarter of an acre at best. Now outside of 99 in the outside counties, right along that loop, it's still growing pretty exponentially. So there is a massive housing thing, and then of course, because there's so much demand and people are moving so much to Houston, they're building houses really quickly, and that is also a bit of an issue. And I'm not saying this on a party line. It's just as somebody who is actually currently living in one of those houses that was built overnight, kind of thing. You'll notice those little details that make a difference in the end of it all. So.
Yeah, prosperity has its own set of problems to be sure. But, I'm out here on the West Coast and we have growth too, but we also have something that Houston doesn't. And that is a crippling homelessness problem because we aren't building, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So that is why I'm lifting Houston up as an example in that regard. Definitely not a perfect city, has its own challenges, isn't necessarily approaching everything correct, but they're dealing with the root cause of homelessness, and that is housing shortages.
Yes. I'm hearing. I'm asking for thoughts on Houston. So. Time.
Well, so I know I see a couple of Joe Biden was asking to the Houston dude thoughts on Dallas. Well, Dallas is also very large. I've been there quite a few times. I mean, I've never lived in Dallas, but they are also pretty densely populated. What I will say is I never actually understood what gerrymandering, or not gerrymandering. What's the other word I'm looking for? I'm so close. The one where they raise the rent of the lesser populated areas. Oh man,
I know. Oh God, not.
it's on the tip of my tongue, man. Anyways, it's the one where you go from what
Someone's
looks to
gonna
be
write
like
in
a
the chat.
really, really, yeah. So you basically
Gentrifying.
right?
Gentrifying.
Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. I had never seen that until I went to Dallas. I went to go to the farmers market down there in Dallas, and I kid you not, you go from like really, really poor neighborhood, and within like 2 seconds, like I'm talking, you enter, and then as quick as you enter, all of a sudden, boom, you see like really high sky rises that look like they're multi-million-dollar houses. It is baffling to see just how much gentrification is going on in Dallas, but also just the infrastructure in Dallas is also god awful. As someone who's been through there, you'll end up on a toll road that you didn't even know you were on, kind of situation. There is no loop. Okay, it's a spaghetti model in Dallas, and plus, if you're a Texan, okay, Dallas that just only recently got an HEB. Okay, and that is life saving, by the way. So. But that's my thoughts on Dallas. And in terms of like, if you want, I'm not a big housing guy, so I couldn't give you the like, the educated view on kind of the housing issues that Dallas might be going through. But I'd imagine it is pretty similar to what Houston is going through, just because of the size and stuff they're going through over there. So, Fort Worth is dramatically different though, which is funny because it's that Metroplex. But Fort Worth is much more expansive in terms of they don't have as densely populated areas. So, but anyways, I know that was not the most interesting topic as Texas history, but
hey, someone asked if you're looking for abundance policies and practice. Jared Polis is the guy. I see actually doing it. Jared Polis is popular, yeah, and in a swing state. Dude, I'm lost in this game. More interested in the Denver, Colorado Springs area. Okay. Do you have any thoughts? Yeah, Denver, Colorado Springs is going to be like interesting, especially with Jared Polis being there and Trump. I love when Trump makes fun of people for being fat. That's my favorite thing in the world.
He called somebody piggy last night, quiet piggy, and
BBC reporter who questioned him.
Yeah, and he does this a lot with women. This is a very recurring thing with Trump. Anytime there's a woman who really speaks to power, essentially, he does not like that at all. And especially if they're a minority woman, he definitely does not like that. But real quick, before we get off of the thing, the Denver and Colorado Springs area, I went out there for a job. I've been out there a few times to the airport. What I can tell you, having been out there and just kind of exploring the North Denver area, I did not realize how much country there was in Denver. I don't know why, but I thought Denver was way more densely populated than what I was led on to believe. I went north of Denver to, not Loveland, it's south of Loveland. But anyways, I went out there and I saw some prairie dogs, and I've never seen prairie dogs outside of a zoo. And it, like, my jaw hit the floor. And they are going through some housing boom stuff, but it's certainly nowhere near the level of Houston or Dallas, from what I can glean from that. So, but yeah, on the piggy thing in the media, Trump is going after the media pretty harshly. He actually did this today in the when he was talking with MBS doing the presser. He went after ABC and all but instructed Brendan Carr to actually revoke ABC's license.
I saw that. And that's just like that would like have been, that should be like a country shaking scandal, but everyone's just like, oh, President Trump, you sure are goofy for threatening something like that.
It should be, but nothing really is for MAGA, and I'm not sure, short of being shown that he's a child rapist, that it ever will be. But we're getting there.
Piece by piece. I was telling a friend that, like, if it comes out that, like, Donald Trump really did have oral with Bill Clinton of all people, I think I just tell the simulation of, like, time to back
the
it
Epstein
up.
family's
like way too weird.
The Epstein family's already come out and said that Bubba's not Bill Clinton.
Oh,
but
it's disappointing.
He didn't deny that Trump was blowing somebody. We just don't know who Bubba was.
I know.
Yeah, I think we found that out today.
Maybe it was maybe the guy who it was. It was I don't know. We'll never know. Maybe we will know when these files are released. Now we have to know who it was, not because of like the kids' sake. I need to know who Bubba is.
Well, that's kind of actually.
You want to know what my hope is? By the way, I don't care. I'm gonna say it. It might not be PC. I really hope that whoever Bubba is, I hope it's a trans person. That's my only hope. That's
as an internet veteran. Just let me warn you that what is seen cannot be unseen. So maybe you don't want to know. I'm not saying I want to
see it. I said I just hope that it is. Just to be clear.
What my concern is that Bubba is actually a child. And that's why I've been a little hesitant to really make jokes about it. Because, because
my concern is that Bubba may not be a person at all. Bubba might have 4 legs.
I've heard this.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say I've heard that like really wealthy people have some really weird things like that, like where they do some really crazy put the diaper on, crawl. Like, I'm not here to shame anybody for their stuff, but just saying, the wealthy people are the ones that are known to have these weird things.
I think it's because once you get a certain amount of money, you can get as much vanilla sex as you want, and now it's just I need something unhinged. I don't know. I don't want to. That's outside the scope of my.
I think that for some people, not even necessarily those with money, but those who are born to it, crave to push the limits and to do what's not allowed. Right? I've seen it a few times where people who've grown up with a lot of wealth, because they want to rebel as teenagers, but there's so little they can't do, they go to really extreme extremes.
Yeah.
So now I have to ask, because you said you were worried that Bubba is not a human and may have 4 legs. Now comes the big question: is it better if it's an animal,
boy.
or better if it's a child? Now we're at that kind of interval.
Yeah.
Well,
Raga's gonna be like,
it's
told
not
you he wasn't a
necessarily an
pedophile.
or
He
question.
just has
Unfortunately, I think there could be an "and" in here. So.
Oh wow, that's some freaky deaky shit right there.
Let's just say that until the files come out, we
right.
don't know how low the floor goes.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. Hey, by the way, if you're watching this on X or on Twitch or YouTube, make sure you hit that follow button and hit that like and subscribe notification bell if you are on YouTube, okay? X, if you're on X, you can also hit that like button. Repost it too. We don't mind if you guys repost the stream. This is something that we're really working on trying to do more of. If you are somebody who does do some content and does like doing video games and discussing politics, I know some people have been in that realm. I've been in that realm of playing video games, and I've been told as a video game streamer not to discuss politics. We want you to discuss politics. Yeah. So feel free to join the Project Liberal Discord and reach out to one of us if that's something you're interested in. But just wanted to kind of shout everybody out there to kind of call to action there. So, all right, back to our programming.
What do you call two viewers of this channel getting a room together? I don't understand your question.
Getting a what?
Effing liberal. Oh, effing liberals. He was making a joke. Because we're talking about, yeah, I like it. A Cup of Joe Biden wrote, had his incorrect statement tonight. He said, rich people need to get hobbies. A Cup of Joe Biden, having sex with horses is a hobby. Like, I don't... I'm sorry.
Oh, boy.
Just not one that you like. No, that was a good one, Alex. Yeah. Yeah.
On another topic, I'm over here sweating a little bit.
Keep your hobbies consensual.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one with a face cam, man. I'm the only one that's getting fired today. I'm kidding.
I know, right? Or it's gonna be all over live stream fails over here because he's the only one with the camera.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to wipe my internet history.
It does look like, and I'm only seeing this on X, so take it for what it's worth, but apparently Melania Trump showed up to the dinner tonight wearing, it was a Lebanese designer called Elie Saab, I'm not sure how you say it, but like someone, this is from Mali on X, how America first of her. So.
Is this
well,
was that written like sarcastically or like from as a like lover of Trump?
Oh, like she was. No, Mali on X is left wing, so she was kind of doing it in a sarcastic tone.
That's okay.
But it's also really strange. I think somebody mentioned this as well. First of all, there's 2 things about this dinner. First of all, why in the hell they're hosting a gala for the Saudi crown prince? This is baffling to me too, because I think this is really not okay. Not to mention Elon's also at this dinner, so that's also kind of a big development that people were like, wait a minute, scratching your heads like, ooh, I thought Elon and Trump had a divorce.
They had a divorce, but then like apparently Vance bridged it.
I'm not sure either, but I know that he was really, it's after that divorce, Elon really went after Trump, saying, I know things that he doesn't want released that are in these files or stuff along that line. So it was really crazy to see that.
I mean, it's just the thing about Trump, I'll give him this. Trump is very quick to forgive, actually. Trump is a very big forgiver. Like, if you cross him, he gets angry, but if you get on your knees, he will forgive. Like, his vice president called him Hitler. His, head of the HHS also called him Hitler. Like, how many people, in there, they get along just fine, or fine enough, it seems. Like, what's going on there? But maybe, maybe it was just Peter Thiel talking him into liking Vance. Maybe that was it.
So can you guys...
all the Republican senators, I think, called him something pretty awful when he was first running in 2015, 2016.
Can you guys enlighten me? This is probably a good conversation. I don't know how much you guys know about this particular individual, but I've heard this name floated around. I'm not super well versed on this individual, but Peter Thiel.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Kind of give me a summary on who he is and why I should be concerned. Not saying that I'm not concerned, but give me a little bit of a background, quick TLDR on all of them.
Peter Thiel is, I don't know if, pretty sure he's in the billionaire category, but he is a wealthy German billionaire with several companies, kind of like Elon Musk. In fact, they're good friends in close circles.
They used to work at PayPal, right?
Yes. And Peter Thiel has long had close ties to Russia, and he has been the sponsor for all of J.D. Vance's political career.
Yes.
And whatever Peter Thiel's political position is, you'll find that J.D. Vance's political position will match within 5 minutes of it, including when it changes.
So Peter Thiel is essentially the definition of the swamp, right? Like, I mean, he's kind of the puppeteer of J.D. Vance then, right?
Absolutely. Yep. And strong connections with all the Russian corruption. I don't know if he's bought himself a U.S. citizenship yet, but wasn't originally. And so, couldn't be directly involved in politics. But when you have money, you can buy your way. And that's exactly what he did.
Crazy. Yeah. Because I've heard that name float around, and I think I've heard this before, so I wasn't quite sure. What are some other things that we're really looking forward to? I say forward to, but things to look out for throughout the week. I feel like there's some, I don't know if there's any kind of important pieces of legislation, anything that is on Trump's agenda. Do y'all know of anything that's really taking place this week that we should keep an eye out on?
Definitely the Epstein files. Now, Senate has passed it, so Trump has to take action by Thursday, or it goes into law anyways, which is going to happen, and I expect that's when it will happen. But officially, as soon as that happens, everything can and should be released. So what's going to be the next blockade? Because he's not giving up. So we'll see. As I said, I expect that to happen on Thursday because I expect Trump to drag his feet and take those couple days that he can. I'd be very shocked if it's signed tonight.
Here's the real question. Do you think he's going to hold a signing ceremony for it?
He might.
You think?
He very well might. To try and
show that
try and spin the table away from looking so guilty. Yeah. I mean, when he was running, he campaigned on it. We're going to release the Epstein files, right? And then promptly tried to hide and bury it. So that's what he does. When it's advantageous, he'll take the pro position while secretly doing everything he can to fight it.
I think something else we got to look forward to is the Venezuela stuff. Watch out for a ramp up in activity. I've already seen where they have shut down essentially all of Puerto Rico's airspace, or at least put out an extreme caution through February of next year. So it seems like they are pretty much preparing at this point to invade Venezuela. We know yesterday Trump mentioned... Yeah, go ahead.
I wouldn't say invade because I don't think there's going to be ground troops. Certainly attack. Probably be a massive, large-scale bombing. And I think any attempt to invade Venezuela with ground troops would be an utter nightmare. anything more than like a few surgical strikes. But as far as like an occupying invasion, no.
I guess it just depends on what takes place, right? Because at least with when it came to Iran, it was hit and leave kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But Iran didn't really strike back, and I think that's something we have to look for is should Venezuela, let's just hypothetically say at least say severely damaged or unalive. I say unalive. Forgive me. I'm TikTok brained. Say a U.S. soldier were to be killed, I think that would result in the U.S. then saying, "All right, gloves off, let's go," and now he would end up doing a ground invasion.
So Venezuela has far less ability than even Iran to project military power beyond its borders.
Yeah.
But it does have lots of jungle, right? And fighting in jungle, as Americans know, is kind of a nightmare. You don't know what to bomb because it all looks the same from the air. And it's not really feasible. And then projecting all those troops into there, and troops don't so much march as crawl on their bellies. An old slogan, but true. You've got to have logistical supply lines, and logistical supply lines into jungles is a nightmare.
Mountains is also very nightmarish.
Sure.
And it takes a lot. It would require a lot of funding. It would require congressional authorization, which he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to go to Congress for any of this.
And this Congress is not in the mood. Like, the Democrats are not going to fund anything, and like, he campaigned on ending wars, and he's obviously ended 12 wars or 9 wars. How many wars is he up to? The dude is
he's at 8 right now.
Anti-war machine, apparently.
Yeah, he's at 8.
He's claiming 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who can forget Albania versus Azerbaijan?
It's baffling, and it's the same thing he does with these deals. So like today, it was actually really hysterical to watch in real time. MBS was like, "Hey, yeah, guess what? We're gonna increase it from 900 billion to 1 trillion in real time." We watched it happen.
To 1 trillion.
Investments, right?
Nice.
Investments, and Trump was like, "Yep, there you go, guys. We're gonna have $1 trillion." I'm like, these guys. Trump doesn't even like ask, like, well, what is that extra 100 billion? Where's that coming from? Oh, let me, like, the things you should be asking in deal making. He's like, oh yeah, okay, cool, thank you, I appreciate the extra talking points. Like, what? Like, they're not even real deals. They're handshake deals. They're not of really much of any substance at all.
Yeah. It's.
But I mean, in terms of Venezuela, I think that's kind of like my whole thing is. I definitely see some bombing campaigns, and what I will say is that yesterday Trump did mention Colombia and Mexico as something that he's eyeing as well. And if you keep track and tally, I know there's a lot that goes on in this presidency, and that's what he relies on to really try to pull the wool over people's eyes. Yeah, like he's flooding the zone. Is that? Don't forget, he talked about at the very beginning of his presidency saying, "I'm going to take over Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal." So now the areas that he has threatened to invade include all 3 of those, plus Venezuela, Colombia, and now Mexico.
Chicago.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Colombia is our military ally. We have, relatively small military bases down there. And it's actually one of the other huge losses. Most people don't notice, but I pay attention. Colombia just signed a deal for Gripen fighter jets instead of American fighter jets. I know people love to attack the defense industry, but it's a big moneymaker for America, and it's getting destroyed by the Trump presidency, and it's not going to come back for decades.
One of the biggest,
and
without a doubt.
People don't really realize what that means. They just think, oh, military-industrial complex bad. But that's what keeps us safe. That's what keeps China and Russia in check. And speaking of things to watch for, do keep an eye on what Russia is going to be doing. They love this chaos because it allows them to get away with more well, crimes, just to be blunt. I don't know if people saw that,
Poland.
they attacked a railroad in Poland
Yep.
and blew it
Yep.
up with saboteurs.
One of the things
Yeah, that's crazy.
I did not see that, and that is crazy. One of the biggest, I think, failures of like people were like, MAGA was of course praising it, but I remember just thinking like, this is like, Jesus Christ, this is cancer. Was like Trump stopped arms that were en route to Ukraine, and that's insanely messed up. Because it's one thing to cut off like, okay, we no longer want to do it. That's one thing. You're cutting off things en route. That means people are planning around. Soldiers' lives are being gambled because people are planning for that ammo reshipment to come in, those parts to come in. People are like, lives are at risk. That was they ended up shipping that stuff, but like holding up that stuff. That was just like, I'm an American. I always want to buy American, but if I'm like a foreign country, I'm not buying American anymore. I'm not gonna gamble that like the president is gonna have is gonna like start just having a hissy fit, a tantrum, and then suddenly my soldiers are hosed because my stuff is not. Oh, that's just like, that's bananas.
Yeah, exactly. You're
So
not
Putin just
going to
gets
buy
ahead.
American for any of your heavy equipment because you don't know if the support will be there. You don't know if there will be tariffs or not tomorrow. Supply chains are moving away from the USA.
Yeah.
And even if, even far less Democrats taking over, even if Trump reverses course on it tomorrow, the uncertainty will drive business away. Business wants a
Certainty.
stable political climate to do business in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Chainsaw Commando said, so Putin just did something which could trigger NATO Article 5. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of NATO in terms of
Yes.
Article 5, but
It can. I mean, they won't because it seems that no Western country has the political will to do so, but
Right.
it could. The only country to trigger Article 5 was the USA on 9/11, right? And that was not a state actor that attacked us. So it doesn't require anything like that. Attacking a railroad, yeah, that can absolutely trigger Article 5. Country just has to invoke it and say, look, we're attacked here. Now, everybody, you have to treat it as an attack on yourself. That's what the treaty states. An attack on one is an attack on all.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of the concern here is for me, at least with Venezuela, is Brazil. From my understanding, Brazil has said that they would back Venezuela. And not only that, we're also seeing where Russia is providing armaments, allegedly, to Venezuela. And we're seeing where China may potentially help financially with Venezuela behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And all three of those are in what is known as BRICS, and Venezuela has been eyeing trying to get into BRICS. So I'm a little concerned with the stability of our country, and I think even more so there's a few other things next year especially, which is going to be a lot of these Supreme Court rulings that have been very controversial. We're going to see some of those rulings come to fruition, I think at the beginning of next year, or the second or the first end of the first half of next year. So we'll see what happens, but this is just the beginning, right? And I think that's something that's kind of concerning. It's like, yeah, guys, this is just the beginning.
Yeah. In more ways than one. It's really frustrating. It's just people who don't understand how these systems work are running them, or wants to dismantle them. It's really crazy. Like Trump just has no idea. I knew Trump was cooked quite a while ago, but the one thing he said that like really made me just be like, wow, you are not even like on the same playing field as like many of these other leaders. Is he said that Spain was in BRICS, and I was like, okay, so you don't know anything. You just don't know anything. Like, how fucking wrong do you have to be? I'm gonna die here.
Well, Trump gets away with a lot of stuff, and that's because he's Trump. So, which, by the way, is crazy because Democrats can never. Oh, that's what I was going to say. To our earlier conversation about the 2028 candidate, I think this is something that I wish Democrats would do more of. Is Republicans rallied around their guy. They
Yes.
like going into 2024, they knew who their guy was going to be. Like there was no question about it. Like Trump was on the ticket, it was going to be Trump.
Yep.
We don't have that kind of cohesion, right? We're like you said, it's like, well, it's, 2028 is still far away. I wish that we knew right now, like, this is our guy, because it gives us enough time to really rally around that person and really kind of get that cohesion that we need.
It feels nice, but it's a disadvantage, really, because it gives them more time to attack the candidate, right?
Valid.
So 3 years to, mudsling and just make up lies about a person can undo anyone.
Except Trump.
And honestly, the Democrats don't have a front runner. The process is very much needed. I mean, whether you like Kamala Harris as a potential candidate or not, she was hurt, very deeply hurt, by not going through the primary process, by not being vetted by Democrats and having them fall in love with her. The coronation by Biden dropping out hurt Harris, not just because of the short timeline. I personally think that was some of the least damage, but because of Trump attacked, by the fact that she did not go through the democratic process, that the party was not on board and ready for her. The process is necessary.
What I'm gonna say to that is, I think we were hosed either direction on that one, and the reason is because the only other way at that point to do it was a contested convention. And that's like, if you're doing a contested convention, there's a lot of ways to attack that too, where you can just go up and say like, oh, who attends these conventions? It's rich people, it's, white people, it's, the party elites, blah, blah, blah. So like, the point is, obviously looking back on it, we should have had it. But it's not as honestly, it's not as clear. I think that like, there are ways to attack.
Yeah. Biden should not have run for re-election. He should have bowed out with grace. His legacy would not be tarnished with, accusations of dementia and other things, attacks on his character and age. He would be a much better, well-remembered president if he had not run for re-election. And the Democrats would have gotten a stronger candidate who might have been the same candidate, very good chance, because never underestimate a sitting vice president. And they would have come out of that process so much stronger, with everyone behind them and ready to go. So
may I ask, because I'm curious, do you think that our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness in the Democratic Party? Because I think and what I mean by that, let me be very clear, I think the greatest strength is our diversity of thought. We have so many different ideologies on this side of the aisle that it's also our greatest weakness, because we have so many different stances, right? I know the Republicans kind of have their own different stances, but they're more closely aligned in terms of the bell curve than they are distant. I feel like with us, obviously you have the liberals, the progressives, the socialists, and the communists and the Marxists. But like even each one of those buckets have dramatically different ideas on how to govern.
Yeah.
I think I think you're hitting on something very real and very true.
Yeah, it's definitely a strength. Is it a weakness? Probably yes, but I think the greater weakness is that we don't embrace it enough, to be honest. We don't go far enough with it. We need to accept more voices, more diversity, and trust in democracy more. My greatest concern going into 2026 and 2028 are those progressives who agree with Trump's authoritarianism, just not his policies, the way he implements it. Because, just this last week, also in the news, Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, representative from Washington State, had a call to censure another Democrat representative who initially was going to run for re-election and then bowed out with only his aide knowing, so that basically, rather than having a contest, it just got passed off within the system. It undermined our democracy. And she's absolutely right, but she's been attacked thoroughly, not by Republicans, as you would expect it to come from. You expect them to defend the authoritarianism. Her greatest attacks have come from the progressive wing of the Democratic Party.
Because the guy who stepped down is a progressive. He was one of the left-wing. Yeah, so for those who don't know, this guy, his nickname is Chewy, Congressman Garcia of Illinois, stepped down. He announced he was going to rerun, because I just don't think it was explained. He was going to rerun, and then because he was rerunning, nobody wanted to contest him because he's such a popular person. And then the last day possible, like a few hours before closing, his chief of staff, his chief of staff signed up to run, and he withdrew. He is now no longer on. So there's only one name on a D+20 district. This ballot, it's just he's gonna. You either need a monster. If you're gonna contest him, you either need a monster write-in category to do it. But it looks like he just anointed his person.
And I don't know. There's no reason to really be afraid of that level of competition. You're the chief of staff or a successful representative.
I mean,
you've already got a strong leg up.
Yeah.
You've already got the apparatus behind you. And Democrats need to embrace democracy. Go further with it.
100%. Hey guys, it has been a pleasure speaking with you guys, but I've really got to get going.
No worries.
So just real quick, guys, I'm going to shout myself out. I'm the Vince Wilson Show. You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, you name it. I'm there. You can also go to my link tree. It's all in my bio and stuff. And guys, please, if you have not followed Project Liberal, please do so. If you're a content creator, we're definitely looking for more people to join up in this fellowship program and trying to get this thing off the ground and going. So feel free to join in the Discord for Project Liberal. But I'm going to bounce out. I'll let you guys continue on. But it's a pleasure speaking with you guys tonight.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining.
It's time for me to go. But, I think I'll introduce myself for all of those who don't know me. My name is David Wiley. I'm also with Project Liberal on the PAC side, trying to get good people elected to office. But besides that, I'm also a foreign policy advisor
for who?
For organizations. So if you'll often hear me going on about events in other parts of the world, and that is because I am always putting a close ear to everything that's going on in the world. I love the slogan by one of America's founding fathers, Thomas Paine: "The world is my country, to do good is my religion, and all mankind are my brethren." So with that, everyone, peace, and have a good day wherever you are.
Thank you guys for joining. I actually think I think we covered enough for today. David, you sound like Steve Inskeep. Do you take it as a compliment, David?
I sound like who, Steve?
Steve Inskeep, INSKEEP.
I don't even know who that is.
NPR. He's an NPR. Oh, so that's a compliment, because those people have great voices. Okay.
I must confess, I've never really watched television, and I don't listen to much radio. I've always been a books and internet news type of guy.
That's fair. Okay, well, I think we can call it there. This was a good stream. We covered all the news that I wanted to talk about. So thank you both for being on. Thank you all for joining us. We got more viewers than we do. This is a new stream record across our platforms, so I appreciate you guys. I am looking at those numbers, and it really keeps me happy. Again, if you want, follow us on all the socials, Project Liberal. If you want to be on this, we are taking applications. More voices, the better. So let me know. Just jump in the Discord and just write like, "Hey, where's everyone chatting?" We're all heavily in the Discord. If you go to the Project Liberal Discord, I think it's linked on our X stupid accountitis. That's where we're at. So yeah, go chat there, and you'll see literally all of us there. And if you'd like to be on the stream, we'd love your opinion. I think next week we may even start doing debates. We'll see. I'd like to do some debates with MAGA. and see, what they think about all this lunacy. But until then, thank you guys for checking us out, and you'll see us. I will be doing a late night stream on Friday. I do Friday late night streams where we just kind of talk politics and chill. So if you're interested, come. I think I'm hoping to play some E33, Expedition 33. I've heard good things.